Welcome to Crazy Shorts. This is your host X, and today we have a real live bona fide Scientology orientation film. This thing is bonkers. Sit back and enjoy.
This film to help you understand what Scientology is and assist you to get around to avail yourself of it and answer your questions. This is Flag in Florida, home of the highest level Scientology services. This is the Advanced Organization in Clearwater. This is St. Hill Manor, headquarters in the United Kingdom, and once Ron's home. This is the Founding Church in Washington, D.C. This is the International Ecclesiastic Management Center. This is the Upper Level and Combined Organizations in Los Angeles. This is Celebrity Center International in Hollywood. This is the Scientology College in England. And this is the Free Winds, Scientology's advanced religious retreat. In fact, there are thousands of Dianetics and Scientology organizations, missions, and groups spanning the globe on every continent in over 100 countries of Earth. And millions of Scientologists to be your friends and help you help yourself and others. Scientology was designed for you and all that you hold dear. Religion is as old as man. Man has believed far longer that he was a spirit than a piece of mud. In this age of materialism, he is being put into total effect. But in his common sense book, The Way to Happiness, L.Ron Hubbard pointed out that materialism is not necessarily true, and that evolution could be just a way that other factors built a species of body. Materialistic science has not disproven God or the Spirit. They just say there isn't one. The lives and works of materialists certainly prove that they are not godly men. Most religions have meant peace for man. And there have been a very great many religions in man's history. Basically, in all religions, man has sought spiritual release. That is what we deal with in Scientology. Since Scientology is relatively new, you may hear the question asked, is Scientology a bona fide religion? Let me assure you, it is, according to more than 65 court decisions around the world.
The conclusion that it, the Church of Scientology, is a religious institution entitled to tax exemption is irresistible.
This court finds that the Church of Scientology is a religion within the meaning of the First Amendment. The beliefs and ideas of Scientology address ultimate concerns, the nature of the person and the individual's relationship to the universe.
The Church of Scientology's purpose in this world is considered to help men in his striving for spiritual freedom.
It is established in this case that the mission is a religious organization and that Scientology is a religion.
Scientology has the target to achieve an inner and outer freedom, one that transcends the human, one that belongs to the field of spiritual things.
The Church of Scientology is a religious community.
The Church of Scientology is a religious organization
say Church of Scientology must be treated the same as any established religion or denominational sect within the United States, Catholic, Protestant, or other.
That Scientology is a bona fide religion is indisputable, as determined repeatedly by courts the world over, including the United States Supreme Court. There is much more data about this in the valuable book, What is Scientology? It contains a wealth of information and will answer many of your questions. It also contains copies of paintings which sketch the life of L.Ron Hubbard, the founder of Dianetics and Scientology. Like Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, L.Ron Hubbard has always stated that he is just a man. But he has influenced millions of lives for the better.
Well, you're speaking of him, of course, as the founder of Scientology, but people have been fond of Ron for many other reasons.
We're here in the L.Ron Hubbard Life Exhibition in Hollywood, California, and with me is Mr. Norman Starkey, the trustee of Ron's estate. Mr. Starkey, just looking around, it's obvious that Ron was a man of many accomplishments.
As a matter of fact, he was fully professional in 29 different fields.
Such as?
Aviation, ethnology, filmmaking, photography, music, and engineering. He was also a master mariner, licensed to captain any ship on any ocean, and a world-class explorer. But first and foremost, of course, he was a writer.
These magazines, I take it, contain some of his early stories?
All of those that you see here, all through the 30s and 40s, these were the form of entertainment, and with several million readers monthly, L.Ron Hubbard was virtually a household name.
I see that he wrote in many different genres.
Adventure, mystery, western, detective, spy, science fiction, fantasy, and even romance. Incidentally, Ron also wrote under more than 20 pen names, so any single issue could carry 3 or 4 of his stories.
He also wrote for Hollywood, didn't he?
Oh yes. Here's an example. Back in 1938, he wrote this 15-part series for Columbia Pictures. It was actually their most successful at the time.
I presume his success as a writer brought him great personal wealth.
Indeed. There are more than 100 million copies of his books in circulation today. That's how he funded his research into the mind and life.
And where does the money go now?
He donated his entire estate to the religion of Scientology, so it would always be here for the benefit of all mankind. That's how much he cared.
Then, if I may ask, what accounted for the controversy?
It all started when word of Dianetics began to circulate, even prior to the release of the first book. The government knew that it worked, and they wanted it for themselves to monopolize the field of the mind. They even tried to force Ron into service. He refused and instead gave his discoveries to the public with Dianetics, the modern science of mental health.
Why should the government be concerned about that?
The government had been spending millions of dollars experimenting with mind control, all in a grand scheme to make men more suggestible. But Dianetics could undo their efforts to bend men's minds and brainwash them. They were very frightened of him because with Dianetics, he could nullify their tactics.
So what did Ron do?
He exposed the government plan in his next book, Science of Survival. And incidentally, he was the very first to publicly disclose what has since become known as the infamous mind control program, inspiring hundreds of exposés and congressional hearings.
A very bold move.
And the government never forgave him. They spent decades and millions to hound and harass him and prevent his work from spreading. Anyone else would have gone under from such a vicious, interminable campaign. But he just kept on going, researching and writing.
It must have taken a lot of guts to persevere in the face of all that opposition.
That's one of the reasons people love him. No one else would have had the courage to go through all that and complete his work as well. And what you see here is the result. These books, all the materials of Dianetics and Scientology, are available to anyone who ever reaches to really find out.
So, this is the next logical stop. The bookstore. Looks like we'll have to wait a minute. Ron's books are very popular.
Thanks. Can I help you?
Ah, the public executive secretary. Yes, these good people want to know about Ron's books.
Ah, source materials. They're very popular.
Yes, I told them that. They're here to find answers.
Well, that's what Ron's materials contain, the answers. Man's been looking for them for an eternity, and there they are.
Ah, riches. That's a lot of titles.
Ron wrote about 275 books and pamphlets on Dianetics and Scientology, all of them bestsellers. Over 65 million copies sold in all.
Could you tell us where Dianetics fits in?
Dianetics burst upon the world and reformed the field of mental science. Book 1 summarizes Ron's researches prior to 1950, but even now, decades later, it tops the list. This is the first time in publishing history that a book has continued for years to be a bestseller.
Is Dianetics outmoded then?
Oh no. Ron modernized it in 1968, and in the late 70s, developed and released New Era Dianetics.
Ah. What is the difference then between Dianetics and Scientology?
Ron clarified that, and I have the issue right here. Dianetics is further redefined as what the soul is doing to the body. Scientology is further redefined as the study and handling of the spirit in relationship to itself, universes, and other life.
Thank you. Now I'm sure our audience would like to know what beginning books you'd care to recommend.
There are several of great interest that you should have. One is The Evolution of a Science. Another is A New Slant on Life. And The Problems of Work, very useful. Then The Fundamentals of Thought. Also, Scientology 0 to 8, the Book of Basics, with a small glossary of tech and admin terms. And I will add personally, from me to you, your very own copy of The Way to Happiness. So I would recommend that you get this package for a start.
Shouldn't they also get a copy of Dianetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health?
Of course, then they'll see the adventure of it. And they're at liberty to buy any of these books. They'll want to own them sooner or later anyway. You can also get Ron's books through any major bookstore, but usually they only have his current bestsellers on hand. They can order them for you, but so can we. Just let the LRH communicator know if you have any trouble getting Ron's books. They sell out pretty fast.
You should know that there are several different types of Scientology organization. Each is totally and legally independent from the others, even within its own type of activity. There are Dianetic and Scientology groups, and Scientology missions, and churches, which can train auditors up to Class 5. There are also higher-level organizations, and Flag Land Base and Flagship, the highest organizations in the world. All of these organizations are independent of one another, connected only by ecclesiastical bonds. But you can go to higher level organizations as you progress to higher levels of training or case. Now I'm going to give you some tips on how to get around in an organization, normally referred to as the org. It's usually a friendly place. Here you can often find new friends to share your interests in life. In a big org, there's usually a Department 21 called the Office of L.Ron Hubbard. I see that you have a very nice office here for Ron.
Yes, indeed.
Tell me, why is that?
Well, when he was executive director, he traveled a lot. So he had an office in each org. Now all churches of Scientology have an office for Ron. It is a symbol that we are on source. That is true to his writings and ideals.
So, how does your post fit in?
As the LRH communicator, it is my job to ensure that this organization stays on source.
So, L.Ron Hubbard had communicators?
Oh yes, all over the world. Our post titles originated before Ron resigned as executive director in 1966, and we're proud to carry them forward as a tradition.
I see. And after he resigned?
Ron continued his research and writing. Others formed these organizations. Executives and staff run them. We bought him time so he could research and write. And that's how he could get these done.
Ah, yes.
The word founder means originator or author.
I see. Then who owns the books now?
Ron gave the copyrights of all his writings to a special Church of Scientology to guarantee that the materials of Dianetics and Scientology would never be exploited by any one individual, but are available for the benefit of all. And to ensure that his works were used correctly and never altered, he established the Religious Technology Center and gave to it the trade and service marks of Dianetics and Scientology. This means that public, like you, receive the Dianetics and Scientology Ron intended. Ron is very much with us in spirit. Man has never had a better friend. These priceless books contain the written record of Ron's researches. They mean everything to man's future. So we are the keepers and appliers of the revelations. We make certain the work is used and is used right. This org is our contribution.
To continue, you'd probably like to see Scientology in action. So we will pay a call on the Director of Processing. Excuse me. Could you please tell these good people what auditing is all about?
Of course. Please, have a seat.
Thank you.
It's about case gain, that's what. Now, these graphs are done before and after a person has received 12.5 hours of auditing, or what we call an intensive. These are personality traits. These were what they were before the person received auditing. And these show how they were improved. Also, the person's IQ or intelligence increased, and he became 14 points brighter. Now, here's another person. This shows progressive gain at the end of each of 3 intensives. And this shows how intelligence improved. Here's one with 4 intensives. And we see how each series of 12.5 hours improved him. With that increase in IQ, he must be finding it much easier to solve his problems. And this personality improvement must be making it far easier to get along in life.
That is very impressive.
19th century psychology didn't even think that was possible. Ron was invited to the White House one time to show what Scientology could do. And the 2 psychologists there nearly fainted when they saw graphs like these. They said it would revolutionize the whole field of mental practice. In other words, do them out of their cushy government jobs.
Does that mean that Scientology and psychology are similar?
Oh, no. But it shows you what happens when you address the spirit, not the brain. Even the theory of evolution has never proven that something else isn't making it all happen. Psychology and psychiatry are proven failures. Stone Age.
You seem to have it in for psychology and psychiatry.
On this post of Director of Processing, I sometimes see the damage that they do. Worse than that, they lie and seek to block the way for real advances. With government support, they are injuring man's future. It makes it harder to pull man out when such criminals have government billions to push him deeper into the mud. And with their emphasis on drugging and punishing people, just makes our job tougher, that's all.
And don't they attack the church?
when you think of what Dianetics and Scientology can do. Really help children and people learn, handle drugs, handle crime, save happiness and lives, and all the other things that I see it doing every day. Only a raving lunatic would try to harm Dianetics and Scientology, or Scientologists for that matter. They need psychiatric help. That would finish them.
Now that that's out of the way, could you tell us about auditing?
The best way is to experience auditing for oneself. Auditing is for you, and the gains are yours alone. But there is a fair description of it in What is Scientology? And these pages will give you some idea of a few of the ordinary uses of Scientology.
He says ordinary. It's never been done before in the history of man. Now, let's take a look at where professionals are made. Only central organizations have academies of Scientology and issue professional certificates.
Hello.
Hi. Who can enroll upon a professional course?
Anyone who can read and write. There are no outside school prerequisites.
Do these students intend to take up pastoral counseling as a profession?
Some do, but others are getting trained to take advantage of student co-auditing. It's far more economical. It's called the training route. However, most people who take professional training do so in order to handle themselves and others around them better in life. That gentleman is getting trained so he can handle his associates and friends. And that housewife intends to audit her whole family when she gets her certificate. People become auditors for many reasons. Many take it on as their career. But no matter its use, Scientology training enables them to do better in any chosen activity. By the way, have you told them about the films?
No.
Oh, they're great. Ron wrote the scripts. He even directed several of them. Only Academy students get to see them. They make training much faster.
Now that you know professional courses exist for you, I will give you a glimpse of public courses. The Success Through Communication course is the most popular. One learns how to handle others with communication alone. And there are sometimes special courses that can assist one to handle specific areas or problems in his life. The church serves the community in many ways. And there are public activities in which you can participate. When you believe you have a complaint against someone in the org, or another Scientologist, in big orgs, there are public ethics officer services for the ecclesiastical redress of wrongs. It has been confirmed by the courts that civil authority cannot interfere in church disputes. So you'll be happy to know that if you have a problem in Scientology, there is a Scientology justice system available to you where you can resolve it. And most important, there are church services each Sunday.
Mother, take your child, now recognize and volunteer. And let us all go each our separate way, remembering that when we see Celeste again, we have welcomed her this day. Thank you all.
A christening?
Yes, indeed. I married them, you know.
Oh, that's great. Tell me, does anyone have to change their faith to obtain services here?
Oh, no. All denominations are welcome here. The common denominator of all religions is the human spirit. And Scientology can attain the long-sought religious goal of knowing one's potential.
In addition to what we've mentioned, is there any other pastor service these good people should know about?
Well, you might say that I'm a port of last call. When nobody else can handle it, one is always free to bring it to the chaplain. Sometimes, when someone can't afford professional auditing, I can persuade some student auditor to take him on. I also handle human emergencies, And in such matters, I can be greatly helped by people who become volunteer ministers. But whatever you do, remember that you're always welcome in Scientology.
Now, you may have some questions concerning the validity and integrity of the organization. Well, no less than the Internal Revenue Service of the United States government conducted a review of Scientology, the most thorough investigation of any church in its history. Over a period of many years, they examined millions of pages of church documents and financial records. They studied every aspect of the religion and its corporate and ecclesiastical structure. And their findings? The IRS determined that Scientology is a bona fide religion, that the churches of Scientology and the related social betterment organizations operate exclusively for religious, charitable, and educational purposes, that they benefit the public rather than the interests of private individuals, and that no part of their income goes to the benefit of any individual or non-charitable entity. It is likely that Scientology was scrutinized more deeply than any other church in history, and it passed that review with flying colors, gaining full religious and charitable recognition. In doing so, the IRS granted the church and all its affiliated organizations full tax exemption. In fact, you'll be happy to know, even your donations are tax deductible, just like every religion. Now that you know the factual and legal standing of the church, you may well ask the question, what are the advantages of Dianetics and Scientology for me? So, let's ask some people.
Scientology did make me feel freer to express myself, but what it really did for me was save my life and made me feel for the first time the best of what I naturally am.
From using Scientology, my perceptions have increased tenfold, which is priceless to me as a photographer.
You know, Scientology changed my life forever. It helped me discover the real me, and it helped me reach my full potential as a musician and an artist.
In medical school, I learned a lot about bodies, but I didn't learn anything about people. With Scientology, I understand my patients, and they get better much faster.
Scientology has helped me gain my own control and my own certainty over life.
Because of Scientology, I've been able to turn a dangerous job into a long and successful career.
Thanks to Scientology, I take tremendous joy in what I do.
With Scientology, I am achieving my goals and making my dreams come true.
Since applying Scientology, I can handle anything in my job.
Scientology totally opened up my ability to create.
Actually, from my first day in Scientology, I stopped fighting life and I started playing with it.
With Scientology, I'm able to push through any barriers I come across on my job or in life.
Once I discovered Scientology, I found for the first time in my life real inner peace and joy.
I can hardly express in words and deeds the tremendous benefits that I've gained with Scientology.
As a kid, I always wanted to be a stunt performer, and Scientology has helped me to make that dream become a reality.
Thanks to Scientology, I'm building drug-free bodies.
Scientology gave me the tools I needed to create my own success and happiness.
Using Scientology, I was able to take a small idea and build it into a national success.
Since I've been in Scientology, I am happier than I can ever remember. And the successes, they just keep happening.
Since Scientology, I can get my own message across when communicating to others.
With Scientology, not only am I better able to help my patients through uncomfortable experiences, I have the ability to help people in all aspects of life.
Scientology has helped me to conquer all the barriers that have gotten in my way.
Now, before Scientology, I was considered very serious. Scientology has made life fun.
With Scientology, you think clearer and react faster. And that has helped me train some of the top racers in the world.
To tell you the honest-to-God truth, without Scientology, I would be dead. So, I can personally highly recommend it.
With the communication skills I've gained in Scientology, I know I can reach any goal I set out to achieve.
Becoming a Scientologist is the best thing I've ever done.
Scientology has increased my ability to help students understand what they study and communicate better. It's made all the difference in the world.
Scientology makes work fun.
Scientology has given me real freedom in my life.
Thanks to Scientology, I make the right decisions in business and in my personal life.
It's increased my ability to deal with people, resolve problems, and better serve my clients.
Due to Scientology, I'm in control of my life and what happens to me.
I owe my career to Scientology.
This is some very, very powerful stuff.
Due to Scientology, I've been able to get myself and my teammates through many dangerous and confusing situations. It saves lives.
Well, basically, there's no part of my life that Scientology hasn't helped.
There are many more testimonials in this book. The percentage of success stories in Dianetics and Scientology is over 99%. They originate in thousands across the world. The question arises in your mind, what do I do now? An answer is to buy some books and get help from a registrar. The public reg is for newcomers and public courses. The senior registrars help with professional auditing and training. Either one will be happy to clear up any further questions you may have and assist you to get service. I hope that I've helped to answer some of your questions and give you some idea of Dianetics and Scientology. Something happened in the world that was a bright piece of hope for man. Such a thing occurs every few hundred or 1,000 years. Some genius rises and man takes a new step toward a better life, a better culture. There is a difference with Dianetics and Scientology. It has never happened before in all the countless years of time. In this brief moment, we have our temporary chance for handling and continuing life. Clouds loom over this culture and planet. In this short interval, in this one place, we have our freedom before us. We can arise above the decay, the final flash that will inevitably extinguish this planet. It is not our mission to save it. It is our mission to free you. You are an immortal being. Your life will not halt because this planet halts. You can go on. Now, we could play this very low key. We could sort of giggle and say, we can help you a little to lead a slightly happier life. Yes, we could say that, stating that if you cooperated, we could make you more cheerful. But that would be like offering someone a diamond and saying it was glass. Right this instant, you are at the threshold of your next 1 trillion years. You will live it in shivering, agonized darkness, or you will live it triumphantly in the light. The choice is yours, not ours. If you this minute say, I will, for better or for worse, go on in Scientology, you will open the door to your own future. If you say otherwise, you slam tomorrow shut in your own face. I'm sorry, but that's the way it really is. We are not making any claims for Dianetics and Scientology. It is you who, when you've experienced what can be, are the one that will make the claims. What is true for you. In man's past barbaric ologies and religions, they told you that you were better, that you had to believe them. You had to have faith there was a possible recovery for you, that there were various gods and that heaven waits. And you were told by some that you were a one-life animal, and by others that hell yawned if you dared to sin. You had to believe them, or you got burned at the stake, or shot, or flunked. You don't have to believe us, or even trust us. If you work with Scientology, you will find out for yourself. What's true is what is true for you. You have a friend. He worked for half a century in a violent and often unkind world to open the gate for you. We are here to help you put yourself on the trail that leads up. If you fall off, we'll try to help put you back on. But it is up to you. It is how you use it that counts. For you are the one that counts. If you leave this room after seeing this film and walk out and never mention Scientology again, You are perfectly free to do so. It would be stupid, but you can do it. You can also dive off a bridge or blow your brains out. That is your choice. But if you don't walk out that way, if you continue with Scientology, we will be very happy with you. And you will be very happy with you. You will have proven that you are a friend of yours. We here in this org are really just doormen to the great highway found and built by Ron into a better future.
See what else we have here on the archive.